In this video, I'm going to answer more black questions. These are black questions. If you want to see the answers to these black questions, you can stay. If you're not black, but these just aren't for you. These are really black questions. So we're just going to talk about how reparations can be realistically paid out, what event or movement could force the government to act, what historical precedents exist for large-scale reparations, and the systemic changes that must happen to ensure reparations are not reversed. Reparations are not charity. I need that to be clear to everybody that everybody's involved. What I'm talking about is not charity. If you are looking for charity, get the fuck on. All right, and this is overdue compensation for stolen labor, stolen wealth, and stolen opportunity. That's it. Stolen labor, stolen wealth, and stolen opportunity. If we can march to that, I would love it. But that's really what we got to start from. All right. And the foundation of black reparations, what needs to be addressed, right? True reparations must restore what was taken: the land, the capital, the economic opportunity, and the legal protections. It's a four-peater, okay? So a lot of people are always talking about like, oh, you know, Native Americans deserve it, this people deserve it, this people deserve it. If you are missing land, capital, economic opportunity, or protections, that is what you need reparations for. I need y'all to stay focused. Because too much time that we spent talking about the language of everything and talking about the nuance. But there was no nuance in the theft. So, just like in the key areas reparations must address is unpaid labor from slavery from 1619 to 1865. The entire U.S. economy was built on black labor without compensation. Black land theft, economic destruction, 1865 to the present. From the reversal of 40 acres and a mule to massacres like Tulsa and Rosewood, and urban renewal plans that displace black communities, that all needs to get fixed. Okay, housing discrimination and redlining, the government systemically blocked black ownership and created the racial wealth gap through that, right? Even mass incarceration, the modern economic extraction, the prison industrial complex disproportionately targets blacks, keeping wealth suppressed. And I need this to be clear. Reparations must not just be financial. It is not, that is not enough. They will steal it again. They must restore access to wealth building systems, okay? So if the government could create billions for corporate bailouts and war, it can create wealth for people it stole from. So here's how they got to be paid out. Reparations must be structured in ways that directly benefit descendants while preventing economic extraction by corporations. So we're talking about direct cash payments, just like the Japanese internment reparations, $20,000 per person in 1988. Black Americans should receive direct payments, right? Land restoration and grants, return land that was illegally stolen from black landowners, or provide land grants with full ownership rights, right? Home, housing, and business grants. Federally funded home ownership and business grants for black families to counteract past discrimination. Debt cancellation, student loan and medical debt relief targeted at black borrowers to reverse economic suppression, right? And then guaranteed government contracts for black businesses, right? Just like how corporations receive subsidies, black entrepreneurs must receive prioritized investment. Public banking for black communities, black government-backed black banks to ensure reparation funds stay within black communities instead of being extracted by major financial institutions. Education and then college access, free tuition for descendants of enslaved people instead of, like, similar to how the GI Bill benefited white Americans. The payout structure must be designed to prevent immediate wealth extraction by banks, corporations, and government taxes. It does not mean anything if I give you $2 million if you buy a Lambo with it. If Lambo is not owned by a black man, it just left. Okay. I'm glad everybody's getting it, right? So reparations are about restoring black economic independence, right? It's not just about cutting a check that gets siphoned back into the system. There's more that we need, okay? I just need y'all to have that conversation with me. So here's the type of event that will force black reparations to happen. Reparations will not happen through traditional politics alone. It must be an event that forces a change in the system. So, major financial exposure of systemic racism. If leaked documents or investigations reveal deliberate efforts by banks, corporations, or the government to keep black wealth suppressed, public outrage could reach a breaking point quick, right? National black economic revolt, a mass debt strike, consumer boycott, or tax resistance movements, right? That forces the U.S. economy to feel the financial power of black consumers, right? Then a mass housing crisis specifically targeted at black homeowners. If an economic downturn disproportionately harms black ownership, right? Black home ownership, like in 2008, it could force reparations into a political conversation, right? An international pressure movement, just like how in South Africa faced global pressure to end apartheid, the United States could face economic consequences if reparations become a global demand, right? And then a new civil rights uprising, a sustained organized protest movement focused on reparations instead of incremental policy reforms. This is the thing that y'all need to take out of all those options. The United States does not change unless it's forced. The event must be unavoidable. It must be financially disruptive and politically impossible to ignore. Reparations will not be granted. They must be taken through economic and social leverage. Okay, all y'all talking about military, we just got to go violently take the land back. Take the land back. Can we cut? Can we wake up? Can we wake? Okay, then has reparations worked before? Reparations are not radical. I just need people to get past that. The United States commits a huge amount of economic crime. We live in the equivalent of a criminal's belly. Okay, so it's just they commit crime all the time. So Japanese Americans got it, 20,000 per person. Holocaust reparations ongoing. Germany did it, right? 9/11 victim compensation fund. United States allocated billions to compensate victims of 9/11 attacks, and the GI Bill and the white wealth creation, right? Reparations have been done before, but the difference is that Black Americans have always been excluded from the compensation, right? So if reparations were possible for others, they're possible for Black Americans. The system it literally just has to be forced to act. Okay, that's all it is. It has to be a forced thing. So how will reparations be implemented and protected, right? This is the conversation that no one wants to have. Everybody wants to talk about the number and the violence, but no one wants to talk about how to protect it after we get the number. Okay? Reparations must be held in Black-owned institutions, period. Preventing immediate wealth extraction by big banks, right? If reparations are won, the system will try to dilute or sabotage them. We must plan for resistance, right? Legal protections against economic retaliation. This is huge. Laws ensuring that corporations, landlords, and financial institutions cannot exploit recipients. Anti-gentrification laws, preventing real estate firms from artificially inflating prices and taking land back. Tax exemptions on reparations, ensuring that the federal or state governments cannot quietly extract wealth back through taxation, right? And then automatic adjustments for inflation. Reparation payments must be structured to keep pace with economic inflation. The whole country should fall before reparations stop. And that's the truth, okay? What's the name? And really, the government oversight from a Black-led organization would be nice. Ensuring reparations funds are not mismanaged or redirected, but the reality is the reality. If reparations are not legally protected, the system will find a way to drain them back into the elite's pockets. Reparations must be structured for long-term economic transformation, not just short-term payouts, okay? Either way, the reparations are not about if, it's about when and how. The United States system was designed to avoid this conversation. That's why it must be forced, okay, through financial, political, and mass mobilization pressure. The key is sustained economic leverage. Disrupting the system until it's cheaper to pay reparations than it is to resist them. Okay? I got to say this again. The key is sustained economic leverage. Disrupting the system until it is cheaper to pay reparations than to resist them. Right? Black wealth has always been systematically stolen. The government has paid reparations before. The only reason they haven't done it for Black Americans is because we haven't made it an economic necessity for them to comply. That's what changes now.